Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Solahuddin bin Muhamad, and I am from Faculty of Electrical and Electronic Engineering Technology. In this video, I am going to present my Bachelor degree project 1, and the title is Classification of Surface Degradation based on Leakage Current Harmonics content of 6-year-old field edge polymer insulator using vector machine. Okay, for introduction, insulators are one of the most important component determined by high voltage power network performance. Polymer insulators are generally constructed of silicon rubber and ethylene propylene diene monomer or EPDM, progressively replacing ceramic insulators due to their greater performance in contaminated environments. But many factors affect the performance of polymer insulators in the field, including insulator design, material quality, and service circumstances. However, the polymer insulator may degrade over time owing to inevitable environmental, mechanical, and electrical stressors, and being the most prevalent causes of insulator failure. As a result, the goal of this study is to investigate the classification of surface degradation condition of polymer insulator by processing the harmonic contents of surface leakage current of the insulator, and then comparing with the relevant guideline, which is the IEC-TS 62073 edition 2016. Okay, for the problem statement, weathering, pollution, and mechanical are three elements that might diminish the insulator's performance. Several research have been conducted on the effect of weather, pollution, and mechanical on polymer insulators. However, there are no substantial studies in the literature for polymer insulator difficulties are caused by their age, surface roughness, and insulator degradation. Because of that, this study is to read the data of leakage current harmonic for 6-year-old field edge polymer insulator by using support vector machine or SVM, and the result of the performance measure that gathered from the machine learning test or MLT. It will be analyzed to determine the consistency performance measure to indicate the class of insulator surface degradation. Okay, for the project objective, this study objective is to process the ready data of leakage current data of 6-year-old field edge insulator by using machine learning test or MLT. After that, to analyze and to determine the consistency performance measure to indicate the class of insulator surface degradation, and last but not least, to classify the surface degradation of polymer insulator based on leakage current harmonics content by comparing with the criteria for the determination of hydrophobicity class or HC. For project scope, this project will employ a 6-year field edge EPDM polymer housing insulator as the material under test, and machine learning test or MLT, and support vector machine and MATLAB software environment will be used to process the ready data of leakage current harmonics, and then the mechanical data that will be involved in the analysis, such as surface roughness and hydrophobicity contact angle, where the electrical data is harmonic content, and the MLT's performance measure will be analyzed to determine whether they are consistent enough to suggest the classes of insulator degradation by comparing with the hydrophobicity class. For methodology, we start from project development process, inclined plane test or IPT, and then surface roughness test, hydrophobicity test, and last software implementation. Okay, this is timeline estimation general process flow, and we begin with start, and then literature review. After that, we go to methodology, and then data collection. After data collection, we go to the process where can detect the LC or leakage current, harmonic, distortion, and criteria classes. If no, the process will return to data collection, and if yes, the process will go to data analysis, and then from data analysis we go to the another process which is can detect the leakage current, harmonic content, and criteria classes. If no, the process will return to literature review, and if yes, the process will go to the result, and then we finish the process. Okay, the material that I'm going to use for this study is EPDM polymer housing insulator. The field edge EPDM polymer housing insulator of 6-year-old are utilized in this project to process and analyze the performance of the insulator itself. As you can see, this is the control sample, and this is the degraded sample. Okay, actually the ready data that I am going to process was collected from IPT test or inclined plane test. This process involved two of 6-year-old polymer sample of 50 mm broad by 120 mm long and 6 mm thick, and incline it at 45 degrees, and then we measure the okay, as you can see, this is the picture of IPT test equipment setup, and this one is IPT test schematic diagram. Okay, for the surface roughness data, it was collected from surface roughness test. This test involved a Mitutoyo portable surface roughness tester, and this test purpose is to detect the roughness or flatness surface changing surrounding the sample, and the result level of the roughness will be displayed and printed out on the display equipment. As you can see, this is the picture of the surface roughness tester that was used. Okay, for the hydrophobicity data was collected from hydrophobicity test, and this test is to measure the wettability of sample surface. The method that involved was a spray method. The reason behind choosing this method instead of other method is because this method is easy to perform, and it require a simple equipment, and it also give a global assessment of the hydrophobicity of the insulator surface, and its variation along of around insulators. And the criteria that we collect from this test is hydrophobicity class based on shape of droplets and percentage part of wetted surface. As you can see, this is the HC or hydrophobicity class from HC1 to HC6, and this picture show the hydrophobicity class from high hydrophobicity to less hydrophobicity. Okay, for the software implementation, we are going to use MATLAB software in order to analyze signal data by spectrogram that will be used to extract electrical signal parameters such as leakage current signal, and then from a visual graph we can analyze and determine the consistency performance measure to indicate the class of insulator surface degradation. Machine learning test or MLT that I am going to use is support vector machine or SVM. This is a supervised machine learning algorithm which can be used for both classification or regression challenge. In SVM algorithm, we are going to plot each data item as a point in n dimensional, which n is referred to the where n is referred to number of features, space with the value of each feature being the value of a certain coordinate. As you can see, the left side is before the classification process, and the right side is the after classification process. As you can see, the right side shown, there are two classes that that separated between the best hyperplane, which is the hyperplane is to separate two classes, to separate the data into two classes. Okay, from for expected result from the ready data, I am going to process the data with support vector machine SVM through machine learning test, and then the result taken should be percentage of classification accuracy, and the result I am going to compare with the IEC specification method. Okay, this is the Gantt chart that have been planned from week 1 to week 14, including PSM1 briefing, selection, supervisor and title, module implementation, online meeting with a supervisor, work, progress work evaluation 1 and 2, implementation of literature review and methodology, and lastly PSM report submission, PSM1 final report submission, and PSM video presentation. Okay, from this research we can learn that aging polymer insulator degradation was also affected by surface roughness and loss of hydrophobicity on insulator surface that may accelerate the degradation process, which it can lead to leakage current on polymer insulator. Okay, that's all for my presentation. Thank you, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.